Hello, good morning. This is Dr. Iftikhar Ahmed Ansari, and I'm from Department of Political Science, AMU Aligarh. So far, we have talked about understanding politics, its importance, and secondly, its meaning. Today, we are going to talk about the nature of politics. Now, nature of politics is a complex and important aspect of society that affects us all. It involves the art of government and the process of making decisions that shape our lives. However, the nature of politics is often misunderstood and misrepresented. In order to understand the nature of politics, it is important to explore its historical and conceptual foundations. Political science courses like this one, where it includes the nature of politics, it dwells into the fundamental issues of political theory throughout history. Understanding the nature of politics is crucial for participating in shaping our society. It's not just a means to an end, but a process that requires sincere service and dedication. By studying political theory and exploring different perspectives, we can gain a deeper understanding of the complexities and possibilities of politics. This knowledge empowers us to engage in informed decisions, discussions, existing challenges in the system, and work towards a more just and inclusive political order. After understanding the meaning of political, we are now ready to dwell upon the nature of political theory. Now, the term theory itself stands for a systematic knowledge. Thus, a political theory denotes a systematic knowledge of political phenomena. What are prerequisites of political phenomena in the realm of political theory? The question might be asked. So, political theory investigates phenomena in the following manner. First, empirically. Empirically means which is based on observation through sense experience alone. Second is logically, investigation can also be done. Now, anything which is based on reasoning, like 2 plus 2, 4, such kind of a reasoning, a logical reasoning. Then evaluatively, that is something which is based on value judgment, like men are born free and equal. Now, this is a statement which is evaluative. You cannot prove it, logically or through observation like sense experience. It is something which is a value judgment. Another men might differ on that same statement. Political science basically relies only on empirical and logical method. It's argued that correct observation and correct reasoning by different persons would lead to similar conclusion. Here, empirical and logical situations are capable of verification. On the other hand, it is alleged that evaluative investigations are based on individual or group preferences, which differ from individual to individual or group to group. There is no reliable method of determining what is right or what is wrong, what is good or what is bad. One cannot scientifically discover the purpose of the universe or human life. So, evaluative studies are subjective reflections or, at the best, emotional preferences. Likewise, champions of scientific method for the study of politics insist on value-free or value-neutral kind of an approach. So, systemic study of politics is known as political theory, and the term political theory involves political science and political philosophy. So, here in the nature of politics, we will be talking about at the one side political science and other side the political philosophy part. So, it's often loosely, sometimes political theory is often loosely used to mean political thought as well. Now, for example, George H. Sabine in History of Political Theory, that is one of his very famous book, he chronologically mentions history of political thought and political ideas from ancient to medieval. And similarly, W.A. Dunning is another very renowned politician, or in fact political scientist, who expounded the subject matter into 3 parts in his book, History of Political Theories. Now, political thought, if we talk about political thought itself, it includes views of different political thinkers on problems of politics, especially nature and purpose of state and government. And suggestions are remedial in nature. Remedial, they are the measures with which institutions are attached. So, normally, views are expressed in a chronological manner in relation to historical and geographical setting, in an analytical and comparative manner. So, the contemporary literature on political theory is not limited to describing about political thought, but also delineating about certain issues like justice, equality, rights, liberties, etc. George Catlin observed that theory is divided into political science and political philosophy, and it pleads for combining the study of political science with sociology. And it is a supreme virtue of the fusion of sociology and political science that it could enable us to be a sharp-eyed for the phenomena of control in its many forms over all the processes of the whole social field. Now, political theory and its nature that we are studying here is the study of, in fact, government and its role in society. It explores questions about the nature of a government, the rights and freedoms it should protect, and the relationship between citizens and the government. Political theory also examines broader topics such as identity, culture, ethics. So it's an interdisciplinary field that draws from political science, history, and philosophy. Now, political philosopher John Locke argued that people are naturally free and equal, and he believed that individuals have rights, such as the right to life, liberty, and property, that are independent of any particular society. Locke also proposed the idea of a social contract where people give up some of their rights to the government in exchange for protection and stability. However, he also believed that if a government fails to protect the rights of citizens, they have the right to resist and replace it. So, political ideas and theories are important because they shape our institutions of governance and inform our debate. They help us understand the world we live in and guide us in making decisions about what should be done. Political theories often form webs of ideas that support and reinforce each other, creating ideologies. So, according to Andrew Hecker, no political theorist can make a lasting contribution to human knowledge unless he works in the realm of both science and philosophy. So, the scientific part of a theory can only achieve coherence and significance if the writer has a preconceived idea of the goals of political life. So, commenting on the role of political science, Hecker further observes, saying that the theorist whose pursuit is political science is interested in describing and explaining the realities of political behavior, he should attempt to draw some generalization propositions about the actual relations between state and citizens and about the role of power in society. So, talking about the role of political philosophy, he comments further that the theorist whose interest in writing political philosophy, on the other hand, is concerned with prescribing the goals which citizens, states, and societies ought to pursue. His aim is to generalize about right conduct in the political life and about the legitimate use of power. So, adequate knowledge of political science is essential for sound political philosophy. As Hecker points out, the political and philosophical part of theory must be informed by a profound understanding of the facts of political life. So, the best political philosophers have always been well aware of existing realities. They have given intense and systemic study to the needs and capabilities of man and society. So, there are occasions when term political philosophy is used for political theory during 1950s and 60s, when the debate was going on regarding the decline of political theory itself. So, popular debate about the decline of political theory was basically aimed, in fact, at political philosophy, though these very thinkers were later on suggesting measures to modernize political theory in the name of political science. So, the supporters of political science, they present the argument that it aims at investigating facts and establishing a mutual correlation among them, just as it is presented in natural sciences like physics and biology. So, the emphasis should be on evolving general laws on political science phenomena as a basis for explanation of polity. Just as natural sciences predicts about rainfall, rainbow, political science should expound about reasons for political instability, voting behavior of citizens, a fall of democracy, and establishment of military regimes, etc. So, in this diagnosis, following techniques are adopted in political science as scientific methods. Now, these methods are like, first is observation itself. Observation means investigating phenomena through our sense organs, and scientific techniques and instruments can be applied in investigating political phenomena in cases where sense organs fail to comprehend the phenomena which is unfolding in front of us. However, investigation of phenomena should be restricted to empirical issues only. Now, that is something we need to guard about and should not involve supernatural and transcendental issues in political analysis. Second scientific method that can be applied in political science is generalization. So, the examination of phenomena should emphasize finding cause and effect relations among different variables. Some correlations need to be established after logically analyzing various facts to systematize its outcomes. Now, such results so arrived are to be quantified as long as possible with standard quantifiable measurements. Now, there are two methods of generalization. The first is inductive method. Now, inductive method, it means moving from particular phenomena and evolving a general pattern after connecting various facts logically. And second method is deductive method. Now, deductive method means moving from general to particular. In this method of general conclusions or theories are tested, investigated and evolved to verify or falsify a general statement. A general rules are to be experimented for its universality and verified for its veracity, that is truthfulness. So, discoveries of new patterns are to be incorporated and previous findings are to be revised. Similarly, another method or scientific method is that of explanation. So, explanation means finding reasons behind events, conditions or tendencies and investigating a correlation, whether permanent or incidental. It involves applying reasons to connect incidents logically and evolving hypotheses in the form of a theory through generalization in unique cases. Now, last way of scientific method of doing is prediction and prescription. It means forecasting about the course of events or sequence of events on the basis of past experience or hypothesis developed in the form of theory or generalization. Even tentative suggestions for improvement can also be made in the form of remedial prescriptions. However, the behavioral approach to the study of politics brought the actual behavior of human beings in a political situation under the scanner of political scientists rather than describing the salient features of political institutions and their legal position. So, the former, that is the behavioral institution, behavioral approach, it brought kind of a formal political institutions into focus, and it dissolved these identities, institutional identities, into system and process, so as to focus attention on actual behavior of political actors, which alone is capable of scientific study. However, scientific study has limitations as well. So, political science and its nature being scientific in nature and adopting methods which are scientific is a part of social science, and unlike natural sciences cannot be investigated with precision, and reasons behind all this inability is the natural laws are immutable, which cannot be in the case of the volatile human behavior. Man being a thinking animal, even a minute change in preference can change his behavior. Secondly, social processes cannot be analyzed with precise details like physical processes, because every social event is a part of previous wider event, which cannot be separated from or investigated separately from the previous events and studied separately for impact. Thirdly, a third weakness of having a scientific method in political science is that the pattern of human relations, they change with the change in time and place. No pattern of human relation can be found in pure or unadulterated form. And fourthly, the presence of investigator or observer influences the behavior and responses of subjects under investigation. That again causes a kind of subjectivity, or the subject or value neutrality is something which is absent. Then fifth, even investigators cannot remain purely unbiased in their observation. That is another weakness. And then sixth, we can say the techniques of investigating these phenomena in social sciences, especially political science, are still evolving and becoming sophisticated every passing day, but still cannot match natural sciences. Finally, social organizations are not as permanent and infallible or immutable as natural system. The social scientist cannot remain satisfied by quantifying and verifying facts of phenomena alone. He uses his experience, common sense and belief system prevalent at location where the phenomena are being investigated. So, scientific codes of ethics may get breached at times, creating doubts in the objectivity of investigation. However, having said that, this should not be construed that there is no scope for scientific method in social sciences. There may not be as many opportunities in sociology or political science as in economics for establishment of explanatory laws. Still, certain examples of establishment of explanatory laws can be mentioned in political science, like the theory of class struggle given by Karl Marx and social change. Class struggle brings about social change. Then class struggle is the result of ownership of forces of production. It means once the means of production and labor forces get involved into its developments, social changes are inevitable. Then another generalization is about the iron law of oligarchy of Robert Michel, states that in any type of human organization, the first control comes into the hands of, or the final control comes into the hands of few in the elite class, and it applies to democratic system as well. Similarly, to highlight certain more generalization, Henry Main's conclusion that legal systems of all progressive societies transforms from permanent to contractual in the long run is universal. Another generalization is that multi-party system leads to unstable governments, and that poverty and job insecurities promotes populist governments and conservative forces in a country. So all these generalizations are available as a hypothesis to be verified as natural scientific theories. And the advent of post-behavioral approach, it insisted on having a kind of value into the scientific observations which were being made. So it made political science subservient to human values and human ends. Now hence this post-behavioral reforms and approach, it heralded a revival of concern with values without compromising scientific method for the study of facts. In short, post-behavioralism calls for application of political values for overcoming the prevailing crisis in various spheres of human life. Nature of political philosophy. Now let's see what nature of political philosophy has to contribute in the nature of political theory that we are studying, and with that the politics itself. So as it was said earlier, political theory is a systematic study of politics, and political theory consists of political philosophy and political science. Here it is appropriate to elucidate nature of political philosophy now. It is stated while differentiating political science with political philosophy that political science deals with the real of fact, whereas political philosophy is concerned with ideal form or values. In other words, political science attempts to find out what humans do in a political situation. But political philosophy investigates what should humans do in a political situation. For example, ancient Greek philosophers, one of them, Plato, outlined the concept of justice as a basis of good life in his ideal state. So political philosophy is a branch of philosophy that explores the relationship between individuals and society. It asks questions about how people should interact with society or analyze different forms of governments and social existence. So political philosophy also provides a standard by which existing institutions and relations can be evaluated and judged. Further on, political philosophy is distinct from political science, which focuses on study of existing states of affairs. Political science seeks to provide a positive analysis of social affairs such as constitutional issues, voting behavior, and the balance of power. In contrast, political philosophy generates vision of ideal social life and the value and institutions that should govern society. Now here, as we can see, ethics plays a crucial role in political philosophy. Different ethical theories shape political philosophy and influence how societies should be organized. For example, utilitarians, they argue that the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people should be the goal of society. On the other hand, deontologists, they emphasize the importance of duties and rights in determining the proper organization of institutions. John Locke, he argued that individuals are naturally free and equal and have rights that are independent of any particular society. He believed that legitimate political government arises from a social contract where individuals transfer some of their rights to the government to protect their lives, liberty and property. Locke also defended the right of the revolution and the principle of majority rule. Undoubtedly, political philosophy critically examines what is good and evil, what is right and wrong from the rational perspective of a given period of time. So it's the goal of political philosophers to prescribe a program of action to implement his scheme of ideal concept for solution to realities of his time. Thus, political philosophy is concerned with both facts and values, although in reality, combining facts and values is not an easy task. Problem arises where facts and values may be combined in a certain prescription given, but a subtle difference between the explanation and advocacy is forgotten. Now, such situations are dangerous situations. Further, traditional political philosophy may not remain as conscious towards investigating a fact as political science demands. Even the tools of traditional political philosophy are old and outdated. They are unsuitable for modern day investigation. So, the knowledge of modern statistical techniques, which should be there to make the political philosophical conclusions realistic, they are also absent. And at places even fictitious incidents are incorporated. For example, Machiavelli, Thomas Hobbes, Locke, they presented the concept of human nature as per their own experience with a main consideration of good and bad, then true or false. Such beliefs cannot be testified or verified through scientific methods. Other instance, we can cite like Hobbes and Locke presented their concept of state of nature prior to formation of civil society. Now, it's highly speculative and contrasting in nature. On the other hand, factual knowledge about social life prior to formation of civil society, given in social anthropology, they presents no contrasting picture as found with Hobbes or Locke. So, all explanations in scientific methods are based on facts. In the light of emergence of new studies and facts, older and outmoded ideas are discarded, and this is not the condition in political philosophy, where we find the multiple descriptions could be in vogue of a single phenomena at times, and all could remain in currency. So, it's because of the narration in political philosophy are the essence of humans' aspirations, needs, and they are aimed at different points of time that scientific technique can never measure. For example, in deliberating individual state relation, philosophers like Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, Hegel, T.H. Green, Lasky, they have expounded and discussed different bases of political obligation. Here, one can discuss and debate about the appropriateness of what these philosophers have said or their assumptions delineated. Still, nothing conclusive can be stated about what they have said. Similarly, the theory of natural rights in the state of nature as described by John Locke cannot be established empirically. In brief, the tradition of political philosophy may not provide authentic information about facts, but they anyhow enrich our understanding of aims and aspirations of human life at a different period of time. Whatever had been suggested and proposed by different political philosophers at different point of time had gems of wisdom in it. It keeps guiding and directing humanity from time to time, and that is the reason why political philosophy is being studied is a part of political theory. So, political philosophy performs functions may be categorized as critical functions as well. It judges correctness of an action. As D.D. Raphael indicates that it is true that some of the classical political philosophers have set out ideal forms of society, but this has not been their central concern. Even in Plato, the purpose of depicting an ideal society is to criticize existing society and to promote understanding of general social concepts such as justice. So, according to Raphael, the fundamental purpose of traditional philosophy has been the critical evaluation of beliefs. Philosophy differs from science in that science seeks explanation, while philosophy seeks justification. The term justification implies the attempt to give rational grounding to what has been said, and on that grounding either accepting or rejecting the beliefs, which are normally taken for granted. And another function of political philosophy is a clarification of concepts, as Raphael further points out that many of these concepts, such as the concept of society, a concept of authority or social class, justice, liberty, democracy, they are highly, not only highly general, but also vague. So, clarification of such concepts involve three related purposes. One is to analyze, second is to synthesize, and third is improvement of concepts. So, analysis of a concept involves specifying its elements, often by way of definition, such as defining law as dispassionate reason, or synthesizing of concept which implies showing logical relationship between the concepts, such as showing that the concept of right involves that of an obligation as well. An improvement of a concept implies recommendation or recommending a definition or use that will assist clarity or give coherence. Now, to summarize what has been said so far about the nature of politics and political theory, that is a systematic study of politics itself through political science and political philosophy, we find that political philosophy as a constituent of political theory, which deals with needs, objectives and goals of human life, which cannot be systematically ascertained, but it can always be discussed, argued on the basis of available data and reasoning, and some consensus may be reached at the current level of our social consciousness. Now, most of the arguments that has been given can be picked up for further scrutiny from the long tradition of political thought. And after the scrutiny, new arguments can be introduced thereto, and conclusions drawn from explaining horizons of our knowledge and also expanding what we have understood so far. Hence, the search for values and critical reviews of our position is a continuous process, which justifies the ongoing pursuit of political philosophy. In fact, political philosophy itself is a product of a critical reflection of political activity which existed long before the advent of political philosophy. It exemplifies the Socratic function of speaking truth to power. So with that, we come to the end of the lecture. Thank you.